Hey, this is Dan Harris, host of the 10% Happier podcast. I'm here to tell you about a new series we're running this September on 10% Happier. The goal is to help you do your life better. The series is called Reset. It's all about hitting the reset button in many of the most crucial areas of your life. Each week, we'll tackle a topic like how to reset your nervous system, how to reset your relationships, how to reset your career. We're going to bring on top-notch scientists and world-class meditation teachers to give you deep insights and actionable advice. It's all delivered with our trademark blend of skepticism, humor, credibility, and practicality. 10% Happier is self-help for smart people. Come join the party.
I had a pretty wild upbringing, which probably brought me to do what I'm doing now with regards to my podcast. With the podcast, a lot of stuff happened. I think that led me to a lot of discussions that I have at the moment regarding anything really. You know, I could tell you many stories. I've grown a lot in myself recently. 2 years ago, if somebody said to me, I'm feeling a bit down, I'd say, well, go for a walk, go to the gym and crack on. That was me. And then what it was is we actually just did one episode on addiction and mental health. And something clicked with me, and that was it. That's what I want to talk about. Now, not everything I do is talking about that, but it's allowing people the opportunity to learn something. People tell their stories, and I can learn from that too.
Do you ever feel like no matter what you do, it's not good enough? Like perfectionism is the only standard, yet you're still left feeling behind. Perfectionism keeps us stuck. It robs us of our peace, our joy, and our freedom to just be. That's why I created Beauty of Imperfection, Good is Enough, a guided workbook to help you let go of the pressure, quiet your inner critic, and start celebrating progress over perfection. Inside, you'll find journaling prompts, tools that remind you your worth has never depended on being perfect. It's time to embrace the beauty of imperfection because good really is enough. And let me remind you, you are always worthy. You already are. Get your copy today. Emotionally unavailable. Welcome to Emotionally Unavailable, the podcast where we dive deep into the world of emotional availability and intimacy. I'm your host, Malisa Hepner, and I can't tell you how excited I am to have you join me on this journey of self-discovery and connection. Whether you're navigating the complexities of relationships or exploring your own emotional landscape, this podcast is here to inspire, empower, and entertain. So get cozy and let's explore the depths of human emotions together. I'm so annoyed because I started this intro a second ago and then I got interrupted by the 18-year-old who doesn't even live here anymore because he's doing his laundry, okay? Anyway, today's guest is Joshua James. I guess first off, I will tell you that this episode, while super fun and I believe entertaining, it's a little different from our normal content because Josh is my bud and I think he has a phenomenal podcast. And rather than just running an ad for him, I thought it'd be fun to have him on. Yeah. And then I was on his show too, and my episode's going to release Tuesday. So once it does, I'll edit these show notes and add my link there. He is a phenomenal host. So, yeah, he's really fun. His podcast is called Let's Get Chattin. He's, from the UK, lives in London, right by Stonehenge, apparently. And he's got, a lady in his life and a little baby. I think he's like less than 2. Anyway, he's a really interesting guy. His podcast, I think it's where I really resonate with his podcast journey is that it started as one thing and it's really kind of evolved, which he talks about in this episode. But he is like a student of life, like I am. And so I love chatting with him. And he has interesting takes on things, but he's also just a student and a learner. And I love that. Did I already say his podcast is Let's Get Chattin'? I can't remember what I said and what I didn't since Jake walked in. But anyway, his podcast episodes air every Tuesday at 7 a.m., but I think that's his time zone. So I don't really know how that works here. I'll have to see. And it's where powerful and honest conversations take center stage. Hosted by Joshua James, each episode explores the journey of people from all walks of life, from overcoming challenges and breaking through adversity to sharing insights on mental health, addiction, and personal growth. While often tackling deep and meaningful topics, the show also embraces lighthearted moments that will make you laugh, think, and spark those deep inner conversations long after the episode ends. So, yeah, I think he's really cool. And, yeah, I'm trying to think. I cannot think of what I was going to tell you all. So, I think you're going to love Josh. Plus, he has the best accent. And then let's see. Patreon. I have started a Patreon for the show. The link to Patreon will be in the show notes. But if you join a Patreon membership, here are the tiers. You can join for $3 a month, and that's just like you're a friend of the show. You're being supportive, paying you $3, helping a sister out with some costs. So that's just, you're showing me some love. A $5 membership will get you ad-free episodes because, again, I know that people don't like ads. I am a consumer of podcasts as well. So it's not my very favorite thing, but you have to understand, like, there's not a lot of ways for us indie podcasters to make any sort of income. And when you put as much effort into it as we do, like, you got to get compensated somehow, you know? And I mean, I've been really honest about, like, I do want my podcast to be big time and pay my bills, you know? And I'm still believing in that. And I'm not going to water that dream down. But for now, you know, ads are a little bit of money. But if you hate the ads, you can go and support the show at $5 a month and you will receive an ad-free version of that episode. And you're a friend of the show. And then a $10 membership will get you ad-free episodes and that month's workbook for free. It's included in the $10 membership. And then if you wanted to, there's a $30 membership, gets you all the other stuff and ad space. So, you know, like if you're another podcaster, I would run an ad for you, either me reading it or something you send over for every episode that airs that entire month. $30 is a steal for that. So I guess I got to create something that I can upload so that I'm not having to say that over and over and over. But anyway, so yeah, that's Patreon. Okay, I think this intro is getting really long and dumb. So you're going to love Josh. I'm just going to stop. My brain's not working. Okay, here's me and Josh. Emotionally unavailable.
Let's do it.
So I want to first address the fact that you were a little leery about what you could offer as a guest because you're a podcast host. Because I think that's bullshit because you're super interesting. So I kind of wanted to know first because, well, just for the audience to know, we connected through our buddy Pete and we're in a group chat. So, like,
Yep.
I know some things about you, but I really don't know that much about you. It's more like, I mean, I can feel your energy, that you're a very genuine person. You're a kind person. You're obviously very nurturing. You place like time with your kid as very high priority, you know, things like that. So, I know without knowing that you have a lot to offer lots of people, but, I just kind of wanted to start with, like where you live, what your current, like how many kids you have, like married, things like that, and then get into a little bit of how you got here.
Yeah, no, sure. So I live in the southwest of England. So I live near Stonehenge. So that's how most people know. So I can within a stone's throw, like a mile from Stonehenge. So, you know, if you believe in ley lines and all that sort of stuff, it's a pretty crazy place. They do something called summer solstice there, which is basically I've been to that a few times. I just want to let everybody know the reality of it is it's not what you think it is. It is just a bunch of teenagers getting drunk and
really
some people dressed as druids, like doing some weird
like,
shit.
don't travel all the way there to participate in summer solstice if you think it's going to be a bunch of like hippies sitting around with their hair.
I mean, imagine a really, really shitty festival. Well, no, because they don't have music. Imagine a festival without the music and without the upbeatness. That's
just a bunch of drunk people.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I mean, it was great when I was a teenager.
Oh, I bet you loved it. Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're like, you guys, there's something to this summer solstice stuff. I feel really good about it.
So, fun fact about me, I've slept on top of Stonehenge. So, yeah, that's kind of cool.
Wow.
Yeah,
Hey, not everybody can say that. Actually, very few people, I bet, if you
yeah.
take the amount of people versus the amount of people in this world.
Yeah, I mean, my dad used to be a security guard there, so hence why I get the opportunities. Um, so yeah, that's where I'm from. I have a fiance who's from the States.
Oh, I
So
didn't realize your fiance's from the
yeah,
state.
she's from California.
Oh my God, how cool.
So I come over there for like 6 weeks of the year most years. But to Tennessee because that's where her family now
Okay.
live. So I love America. I'm in the process of applying for my visa, but again, at this moment in time, it's a bit hit and miss.
Not happening. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, and then I got a little 2-year-old son. His name's Grayson, and it changed my life, obviously, as you can imagine. He's going
Ooh,
through.
2-year-olds. Whew.
Yeah, I was gonna
Your
say he's
hands
just
are
started.
full.
He literally climbed out of his cot for the first time last night, and we're like, "Oh shit! Like, what do we do now?"
Yep.
You know. So we're working through that. So any tips would be appreciated.
Maybe. I personally, at 2, the first time they climbed out, I went ahead and just got them the toddler bed because I didn't want the I was a very anxious parent who
So am I.
I was really leaning into my catastrophic thinking at that time of my life. And
Yeah,
so
I'm
I
like,
was
is he gonna
like,
break his arm, break his leg? What's
right.
happening? Yeah.
Exactly. Now, my daughter stayed in a crib longer than any of the others, and she just kind of decide, do I want to climb out this time? Do I not want to climb out this time? But she was probably the safest because my boys, they were wild, But yeah, we kind of just let her do what that third one, baby, the third child, they get what they want, they really do. The first one gets they bear the brunt of all of your unreasonable expectations. The second and third, wild child, don't even. I love to meet first time parents who think they're so perfect at parenting and they have the most perfect child. And I'm like, oh, you do. You have the perfect child because all first children are perfect. And then you get that second one who shows you don't know shit about shit. And then the third one, woo, it's a free for all. It's a free for all. But yeah, I personally switched to the toddler bed then that way, and we just worked on a routine. Like they would listen, they come out of their little bed and they're like, hey, and then I just sweetly walk them back to their bed and say, and now you're going back to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
I would much rather do that than worry that they were gonna like fall out and break their neck. That was my big worry, was you're gonna fall out head first.
Yeah, yeah. So what we did is we just put him back into a sleep sack. He can't
Oh,
climb now.
okay.
He can't
Yeah.
climb now.
And he likes it.
Yeah, he's chill. He's
Oh, right on.
he's not too chill at bedtime at all at the minute anyway. But he's as chill as he can
A
be at the
2-year-old
moment.
is gonna be. Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah, that's sort
So
of my
like,
little family.
what about where you came from? So you said your dad was a security guard, and like, what
Mm-hmm.
are your parents still married? Are they still
Yeah,
around?
yeah. So my parents are still married, still around. They have my son every Friday without fail. Well, other than tonight, funnily enough, I just said without fail, but usually every Friday he'll stay at his grandparents. A funny odd relationship with my parents.
Mm-hmm.
So basically my parents are the type of relationship where they shouldn't be together, but they are together.
Uh-huh.
It's simple as that. It's always been that way. I had a pretty wild upbringing, which probably brought me to do what I'm doing now with regards to my
Mm-hmm.
podcast, with the podcast. So I grew up in a lot of stuff happened. That my mum's an alcoholic, my dad's an
Okay.
alcoholic.
Okay.
Both. I have to say certain things different in this country. So allegedly both smoke marijuana. Um,
Oh, right.
you know,
Okay.
and so yeah, I think I that led me to a lot of discussions that I have at the moment regarding anything really.
Mm-hmm.
I could tell you many stories where my mum's thrown knives at my dad. I've seen them beat each
Yep.
other up. Like, I've seen my mum have a mental breakdown and end up in a mental institution,
Right. So
four
your parents are
suicide
still together
attempts.
because they're codependent.
Hundred
That's
percent,
it. Period.
100%. Yeah,
Yeah. And I
yeah.
kind of, okay, thank you for sharing that because like I don't know if you know I have addict parents or did. They've been dead a long
Hmm.
time. But um the reason I asked you about your upbringing is because in your Podmatch profile, you said that you're looking for emotionally intelligent people to have these conversations with. Now, I think you have a lot of different types of conversations,
Hmm.
as do I. But the fact that you spelled that out very specifically made me feel like you came to emotional intelligence on your own, not because it was ever modeled for you.
100%.
And that now I would bet you that people who come off as emotionally unintelligent are very triggering for you.
Um, yeah, I mean, I've grown a lot in myself recently with regards to that. I mean, listen, I'll be the first person to sit here and say, 2 years ago, if somebody said to me, I'm feeling a bit down, I'd say, well, go for a walk, go to the gym, and fucking crack on. That was me.
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
I grew up in shit. I've been through the shit. So for me, it was like, listen, don't sweat the small stuff, and that's me now. I'm very relaxed. I'm very chilled. Um, whereas my fiance from California, very different style, she knocks a pot over, the world's just blown up to smithereens. I knock a pot over, I've knocked a pot over.
Yeah. 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 No, I understand that. And I think for people who survived the type of trauma that comes with having parents who are addicted to anything, because we've used some pretty maladaptive coping skills to get us through, like, I would say that a lot of us fall into that category where we were motivated by spite, that it wasn't like love or compassion that got us through. It was, I'll show you. And our ego really led.
Yeah, I would say I got quite lucky because listen, I never went without as a child. I never went without. I always got what I wanted. I was a spoiled little shit. Listen, I'm not gonna bear no bounds about it. I love my parents. My parents love me. I've had fist fights with my dad, but I love my dad. You know.
Sure.
But when I was 16, I moved in with my grandparents. I couldn't wait. I used to stay there every weekend anyway. My
Mm-hmm.
grandparents were effectively my parents
Yeah.
for a very long time. You know, again, it's if you were to ask me about my upbringing, I could sit here for 3 hours and tell you stories that would shock the shit out of you.
Mm-hmm.
you know, but that what I will say is it doesn't mean I dislike my parents. We've got a very good relationship now.
Right.
I don't blame them. I kind of do, but at the same time, addiction is something that anyone can struggle with. But I didn't do anything out of spite for I would say maybe spite, but it was I want to be better. I will never be like you. That is my aim. I want to be my grandparents.
Yeah.
And when you mention about the emotional maturity, I think that's where I get that from, is growing up with my grandparents. I'm very old fashioned in that way. I'll open the door for a woman. I will, all of these bits and bobs.
Right. Well, do you feel like you have experience coming across people now who maybe have your old attitude about how to cope with things, and
100%.
see like where you were wrong in the way that you were thinking?
No doubt. So, yeah, I come from. I mean, if you see me on the street, I go to the gym. I've got tattoos. I've got a skin fade. I'm the typical fucking man's man. How I
Right.
look. That's how I look, and that's what my friends are like. So, my best friend Liam, he is a giant of a human. He looks like a Greek god. I wouldn't take my girlfriend around him. I always say that as a joke. He's a very nice guy, but he is that person. Chin up, man on, walk forward, go over it. Right? I When he says that to me, I do not. It doesn't make me think less of him, but it allows me a chance to then educate him, in a sense. Now, trying to educate 6'4" absolute unit is harder said, well, easier said than done. But what I will do is I can now harken back to my podcast and say, well, I was speaking to this person and I learned
Mhm.
this, and I've learned a lot about myself doing my podcast. And another thing to note on that is my podcast didn't start off being what it is now.
Yeah, what did it used to be?
So the epitome of what I was just saying is what it was. It was me, one of my mates, and my uncle talking about lad shit. What we did on a night
Mm.
out, sex stories, all of the cringiest shit you'll ever hear, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I got to a point where I said, no, this isn't right. And then I wanted to do it topical, so I've got episodes just strictly on marijuana, strictly on the government conspiracies, all this. And then what it was is we actually just did one episode on addiction and mental health,
Mm.
and something clicked with me, and that was it. That's what I want to talk about. Now, not everything I do is talking about that, but it's allowing people the opportunity to learn something. People tell their stories, and I can learn from that too.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel like having the people that you've had on your show has really impacted you?
Do you know what? It's funny because as I said before, I wasn't a massive mental health advocate before. I wasn't. So I've learned so many things about, well, myself, for an example, how to deal with certain things and how to cope with certain things. That's helped me a lot. In fact, I'm good friends with somebody who I interviewed now called Dave, who actually lives not far from me, funnily
Oh,
enough.
cool.
And he went through serious addiction, and the things I've learned are grounding, exercise, all the physical sides of it that I
Mm-hmm.
want to do and can do, I will do. Um, but there's things that just aren't right for me as well, such as journaling. You won't catch
Right.
me journaling because I just can't do it. I
Yeah.
can't put my head to it. Um, and also, I've found a lot of people I've spoken to in different aspects, whether it's spiritualism or paranormal, anything like that. It really solidifies my beliefs as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so like I always meant to talk about this. I love ghosts. I'm obsessed.
Are
It's all I think
you?
about. Like through the day, I watch ghost hunting YouTube videos. I want to do a ghost hunt. That is me. So speaking to somebody who's a medium and can give me the facts, I'm like, you've cemented this for me.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, I
Um,
totally get that. Well, for me, I came to a feeling about mediums differently just because I've lost my parents. And so I finally got over my fear because I was raised super religious and taught that that's very demonic and you might be talking to demons instead of the real people, whatever.
yeah.
I had to shed all that shit. But I finally went to a medium, gosh, I don't even know how long ago, maybe 6 years ago. And it was so life altering for me because my parents had been gone, I think at least 20 years at that point. And I was like, I just want to know if they're proud of me. Like, because
Yeah.
I don't think any kid ever outgrows the desire to hear their parents say, I'm proud of you.
100%.
But at the time, I still had so much healing to do that some of the things he said didn't make sense to me. But then as I've had different mediums on my show, and they say the same thing that he said, it's like I can hear it in a totally different way. So astrology really like opened my eyes to so much spirituality because before I kind of like I went from super fundamentalist Christian to nothing. I had no belief in anything. Well, I was like, I'm open to the idea of the word universe. Like
Yeah.
I couldn't like fully believe in anything because I had definitely shed that belief. But then whenever I had like an open heart about universe. And
Okay.
then looking at astrology and seeing like, holy shit, this really is a fucking blueprint for your life. Like and you can and I did kind of believe in the idea of reincarnation.
Yeah.
So like I was like, oh shit, like I kind of see my family history here and just everything. And so as I started to believe in that, the word universe really meant something to me. And that's really probably still what I'm the most comfortable with. I know a lot of people use the word source.
Hmm.
Some people even use the word God, but don't mean it like as the Christian God. Um, I personally am super triggered by God. So, like, I don't use that word, but like, I'm really strong in my understanding and belief in universe. But damn, dude, meeting mediums who like because the one that really fucking changed some shit for me, her name's Kat, and she was my mom always pops through like immediately. And I was her only girl. I was the middle child, and I was the only one she physically abused. And there was some shit there. I, like you, loved my parents. Like,
Yeah.
I was taught about addiction from the time I was little, and I was led to an understanding that, like, this isn't about me. Even though I did take it personally and I did inherit all of this shame over it and whatever. Really, it was my narcissistic grandma who had much longer lasting impact on me than they did.
Yeah.
But when she connected with my mom and she said, I just get the feeling that this life was kind of a test your mom didn't pass. It finally clicked because I understood what the first medium was saying. And I
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
like, oh shit, you're right. Like, I get it now. Because if we are all here under soul contracts, like you pick your parents, you pick your experience, whatever, she just didn't make it. They just weren't able to like get through the trials and tribulations of what fucking being a human is sometimes. But because I could understand that, I actually started to make peace with my grandma too, who's also been gone for 10 years now. But like I was able to understand she was also a human who just kind of wasn't passing the test. You know, she never
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
to enlightenment. And I feel so fortunate to have really leaned in when I had a spiritual awakening. My spiritual awakening happened at the time that I was healing and deciding to live instead of die. So I was like really inundated with a lot of new paradigm shifts daily. I was waking up a completely different person, and then that evening a totally different person the next day. Like, I
Jeez.
was really worried I was in spiritual psychosis because it was something new every day that I was like, oh shit, like, oh, aha moment, aha moment, aha moment. And so for me, my show really did save me because it was the guests that came on, and me, obviously I'll give myself credit too, I was open to what they were
Yeah. Yeah.
saying and curious and did the work. But yeah, I think that's how I know I was meant to do a podcast. And I think you feel very similar.
Yeah, I hear the word spiritual awakening so many times. I can't say I've ever felt that I've had one. Maybe one day. But there's nothing that's ever jumped out at me. But funnily enough, I'm actually having my first medium like thingy this evening.
Oh, I'm excited for you.
So
You
at
said she's gonna
11
do
p.m.
tarot too, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
I'm
not
listen.
caught up on all those voice memos, so
I'm
that
a,
was all I heard.
I'm gonna be scared. I'm scared. I can't lie. Like, but luckily I'm not anymore because I spoke to a woman last night. And basically, because like what went through my head, it was like going to do tarot. I was like, what? So she's going to tell me I'm going to die next week? Like,
No, why does everybody think that about
well, this is the
tarot?
thing. Because I've never done it, and I've so for me it's going to be eye opening for sure. Hopefully, and yeah, now I'm excited about that. Because I think for me it's like so I lost my nan at the end of last year, and that for
Oh, okay.
me is the closest person I've ever lost, the only close person
Hmm.
I've ever lost. So it'll be super interesting if I can get anything that happens where that goes boom, it's real. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
there's been no point of me doing it up until now
Hmm.
because it could be another part of the reason I started the podcast with regards to like mental health is I've lost 3 friends due to suicide, but when I say friends, they weren't my best friends.
Right.
They weren't. I wasn't with them every day. So it's like I had no reason to speak to a medium, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
So now I've got a reason, and yeah, we'll see what happens.
The cool thing about that is that there's always someone that you're totally not expecting to come through, and it'll be somebody who's just like around to help, you know? And
Yeah.
like one of the things I asked was like the first medium I went to 3 times, which was a
Oh
lot of
shit.
money. But the first time was just like, I need to know if my parents are proud of me. Second time I went because I was like, listen, I have felt people around me for a really long time and I want confirmation. So I didn't tell him any of the people that I thought were around me.
Excuse
And
me.
he just started tapping in, and anyone that I had thought of, they came up. Like we lost a niece. My sister-in-law had a stillborn when
Mhm.
she was like 41 and a half weeks pregnant, and I feel her around me all the time. And um a friend of mine lost his child to suicide, and I felt him around me. And so it was like things like that. Like actually anyone that I'm in semi close to, if they have a loss, I will feel that fucking person. I'm not like able to communicate really. I don't know how to do it, but I can feel that. I'll know who it is even. And I'm like, the fuck, what are they doing? Like I have a friend, I don't know if I've ever told my friend Suzanne this, but like her husband Larry died a few years ago, and I have always like it'll pop up here and there where like I'm like, well, that's weird. I wonder why Larry's here. I don't know how to communicate, so I don't know what they want. I don't know, whatever. But I think they just like are around people who can feel them. So like that's what I went for the second time. The third time I was like, are is it possible for people in your family to be on your spirit team? And he was like, yeah. And he's like, oh, are you asking because you want to know if your mom's on your spirit team? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, yeah, she is. And so like I was expecting that, but then I've had other people come in that I didn't expect. So I can't wait
Okay.
to hear about your experience with it, because for me, it's been very healing. And now that you're in an open place, I think it's going to be a really good thing for you too. And I don't know what people have seen on like TV or movies around tarot that makes them feel, because I've had people say that to me, like, I don't need that kind of negativity in my life. And I'm like, that's not how I use tarot. So I don't know. Cause I don't read tarot as much anymore, but I was really doing it a lot for a minute. And so I'd be like, do you want tarot reading? They're like, no. And I'm like, why? What the fuck? I understood if for religious reasons they felt like it was demonic, but for the people who were like, no, but I don't want that negativity, I'm like, I don't understand this.
Yeah, I think for me it's going to be eye-opening for sure. And it's funny that you mentioned, that you feel like you can communicate. Um, half of the people I speak to who are on a spiritual journey, that's the word I use, on a spiritual journey, because it doesn't separate anything from anything. It's like sort of clumped together.
Yeah.
Um, but half the people I speak to who are on a spiritual journey, I always tell them like, before I even start talking about like paranormal ghosts and stuff, I always explain the reason I ask is mainly because there's so many times I walk in a room and I feel something, and it's just a darkness. It's a hair stand up, get me out of this room feeling, and it's not just a dark room I'm scared of. It's what the fuck is this,
Mm-hmm.
And that happens, and then once I've spoken to them a few times, they'll be like, "Dude, you've got the gift," and I'm like, in my opinion, everybody's got the gift. It's just
Yes.
being on the frequency to unlock it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm nowhere near there. But I do think as I'm opening up, it's definitely coming through. And it's like, for me, it's when you mention about, believing in what you believe, do you like God, whatever. For me, there is a something. I do not know what it is. I do not know
Mm-hmm.
who it is. And I don't think it's a person. I don't think it's this almighty God, Allah, whoever. No, it's just something.
Mm-hmm.
It could be a wisp, it could be a ball of light. I don't know, but I believe there is something that is not so much guiding you, but just there for you, if that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense. But also with regards to like, if anybody's listening who's like Christian or Muslim, Judaism, anything, whether I believe what they believe or not, as long as it leaves a positive impact on their life,
Mm-hmm.
fucking go for it.
Yeah. I mean, I think
You know?
we all have to decide what we believe in for sure. I'm trying really hard to get to a place where I can be 100% fine, like hearing people talk about their beliefs. But the religious trauma was like so impactful on me. It like really created so much shame around normal human shit that it's still very hard for me. And I don't like that so many people are taught to hate others in the name of religion. I'm more of a live and let live kind of gal. Like, if
Yeah.
you believe in God, that's fine. But if your beliefs then try to infringe on my right to believe in a not God, then I have a problem. Like,
Yeah,
don't
like
come
don't
try to
push that
convert
shit
my
on me.
ass. Yeah,
Yeah.
don't. Mm-mm. People who ask to pray for me, no. You could pray for me at your home all day long. I
Yeah.
love prayer in general because I don't think it has to be to a god or whatever. But like, not to my face. No, baby, you will not lay your hands on me and pray ever again. Thank you so much.
I find it
But
funny with prayer. Like, it's a effect. All you're doing is just rituals. Like
Mm-hmm.
they sit there and they say, "Oh, like Christians or many beliefs, they call people who do like rituals or anything witches, demons, whatever." But your prayer is a ritual. Your prayer is literally a spell. That's what you're
Mm-hmm.
trying to enact a spell right now, and it's so silly. Like if you look at people who just believe in the vibrational side of things, people who believe in God or whatever they believe in. If it's like before you walk in a shop, if you believe in just vibrations and you're like, cool, there could be some negative vibrations in here. I'm gonna say my thing to keep these vibrations away from me. You may
Mm-hmm.
be going on a ghost hunt. You may at the end of the ghost hunt turn around and say, you may not follow me in the name of da 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 da. Or you may, before you go to bed, pray to Jesus. You may pray to Allah. You're all doing the same thing, just to
Mm-hmm.
different topics. So how can you be putting other religions down, being against them, or anything like that? It makes no sense to me.
Well, I think fear and shame. I think that's why we all do the things that we do in terms of judging others. And I think like spirituality is so interesting to me because there are so many different layers of it. Like some people are spiritual in that they believe in interconnectedness and vibrations and that we're all just a projection and reflection of our own thoughts and that you can create your own reality. That's spiritual. But like then there's people like me who are super into the my belief is that we are all one and
Okay.
connected to one, not a being, but more like a light, and that we're like I think the more I discover that who we really are all just the same, like we have the same narratives, we have the same fears, we have the same whatever. Maybe our motivators are a little different, maybe our backgrounds are different, maybe we came to our wounding differently, but our wounding's very similar, our thoughts are very similar. Once we start to uncover the layers of the fear and the shame, we're all kind of the same. And I think for me, I remember the first time I really felt connected to humanity and was like, "Oh my god." Like I really had that globe with the people all standing around it holding hands and shit. Like that was in my head and I was like, "Oh my god, kumbaya." Like I really get this shit now. But for me, that's the shit that makes me happy, to just
Yeah,
feel so connected to humanity. I'm not going to do anything hateful with that shit, I am very repellent of people who believe very differently than me, just because I feel like there's so much hurt rooted in so many beliefs,
yeah,
including my own, but I don't need it. Like I love to hear about different philosophies. I just don't love religion at all. I think that most religion was created for a sense of purpose, but also to oppress others. I
hundred
really
percent.
do. And so I just try to stay away from religion. But I mean, that's why I say I don't really have like a heart for politics. I have a heart for human beings. And I want us all to get to a place where we feel like we're living in our purpose. Whatever that purpose is, I think you're a lot happier in life if you're just living according to your passions and your purpose in your own authenticity.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm very much just do your own thing, right? Just do your own thing, and you don't need to push it on others. It's the easiest way to get through, and it's the best way to get through, And I think even when you talk about religion and things like that, it's like cool. But if you're pushing these things on children, it's like they don't have a choice, and then when they grow up, they're either fucked up from it, like not, or they're gonna rebel or they're indoctrinated into something they didn't sign up for.
Mhm.
Like I say, live and let be, but like even people who are pushing it on their children and things like that, I just can't comprehend it. Like people should be able to choose their own thing. It's
Yeah. Yeah. That's with my kids. Well, I was pretty fundamentalist when the oldest was young, but by the time he was really forming thoughts or whatever, I was out of the religion. But I've always kind of been like, whatever you want to believe in, I'm fine with. But my oldest did come to me like when he was somewhere in his teenage years, kind of jealous of the people who did have this faith.
hmm
Like his
I can
religious
understand that.
friends seemed more solid, and I understand that because even when I left the belief of Christianity, I still had a belief in something where you are, where you're like, there's something,
hmm
I don't know what. I was comfortable calling it universe, but I felt connected to something. But like he, I think, doesn't feel that sense of there's something bigger than me, even if it's just my higher self. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think really leaning into my own intuition has made me really comfortable with the fact that I do believe there's a higher version of me, you know, who's stripped of all of the fear and all the shame and just knows the shit, who's really connected
Yeah.
and leads me. And all the times I would have credited God, or even one day, like I got this text message. I've talked about this a couple times. I got this text message that said that somebody had used my card in Texas. And were you in Texas? And I was like, no. And they're like, great, we're gonna call you to discuss this charge or whatever. And I don't usually fall for scams, but I was falling for this one. But the second I answered my phone, I heard very loudly, do not give them your information. And it occurred to me very quickly what was happening. And so I was like, yeah, I'd rather just talk to my bank directly. Before I could even finish the sentence, they hung up. And I said, ooh, thank you, mom. But then I was like, no, it wasn't your mom. It was fucking you. It was you. Like,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
have a knowing too. Quit crediting everyone around you for your intuition. Like, you need to stand in your own authority. And the fact that, like, you have a knowing. And I don't believe that I'm distinct in the gifts that I have, but I definitely have access to my gifts. I'm aware of my gifts of, like, you know, claircognizance, you know, shit like that, where I think other people are, you know, tune their frequency off or whatever because they're living in survival mode.
Well,
And I
yeah.
became much more open spiritually whenever I wasn't living in survival mode. But it's things like that that I'm like, man, I have a fundamental fucking faith in myself. I mean, yes, I believe I'm connected to something higher than me, but it is still a part of me.
Yeah. I mean, with regards to the you having like this harnessing of abilities, for lack of a better term, do you find that there was anything other than the spiritual awakening that you had, that there was anything else that may have like contributed to that? Because there's so many people who will, like, you know, with like, let's take the third eye for an example. Okay.
Mhm.
People will talk about the calcium buildup on the third eye, which can then affect you know, your ability to do so and so. So there's so many people that I speak to who will either change their diet, they will only drink water which is from this certain place, or only, you know, wash with this certain thing, and all of these different parts, grounding and exercise. Is there anything that you've done in that sense to try and like boost, increase, anything like that?
Not really. Mostly just like, you know, learning to do spell work, you know, like
Okay.
different shit like that. But no, it's more I've tried to just get really still and raise my vibrations truly. Because I've always had like the ability to where if we are friends, we are spiritually connected, I'll know when something's wrong. You know, like I'll be like, "Hey, are you okay?" And my friends are like, "Oh my God, are you psychic?" Like my whole life, that was a thing. So I've always known I had something there. But when I say spiritual awakening, it really was this understanding of something higher than me. The evolution of that for me has been, it is me in a higher form. So I think for me, I haven't gotten super into like, you know, more of the monkey type
Hmm.
lifestyle, like the monkish folk.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm really pretty normal. Like I haven't done any of like the super woo-woo shit yet. Not that I'm not open to it. I believe in very woo-woo shit. I love to watch other people who do super woo-woo shit, but
Just not there.
no, more just like shadow work, trying to understand why the fuck I do what I do every day, because I really do connect it to the emotional piece too. I try to be very anchored in my humanness. Like that's
Yeah.
the role that we play here, is to propel human nature and human beings forward to a greater purpose, I believe. So I try to stay in my humanness as much as possible while really being anchored in the belief that I am here for a higher purpose, as we all are. But staying in my purpose, which I believe is to help others to connect to themselves and love themselves, forgive themselves, rid themselves of shame and keep that emotional piece really present and center, because that's what I have found in a lot of the spiritual community is they're often little la la land. And I'm not saying that negatively. I just don't know
Yeah,
how
I
else to
get
put
you.
it, but
The
you know what
kooky
I'm saying?
shit.
Like, yeah, they're just really, and I'm like, hey, good for you. I love to watch you, but like, you're not anchored here. We are human beings first here. Yes, we
Yeah.
have this energy that is connected to something outside of this world, but right now, right here, we're in a fucking human being. That's what we are. So I think just connecting to my soul is really important to me, but I being a human is what we're here for. So I try to really stay anchored in that.
Yeah, nah, I agree. I mean, the only thing I would say is for me is like I've never felt more open and focused after a 48-hour fast. So that's something that does something for me. It's like if
Mm-hmm.
I just drink water for 48 hours, my body is and my mind is just completely different. It's crazy. But there is also something massive in being able to still do the shit you want to do. Like there's nothing for me, it's like I would never restrict myself so much. I just couldn't do it. I like
Mm-hmm.
snacks and shit. Yeah.
Maybe me too. Me too. When people are like, quit putting that trash in your body, I'm like, baby, I'm gonna keep eating the trash. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna keep eating that shit. You give
Yeah.
me an edible, and then I'm gonna tear up the kitchen. That's just how it's gonna go.
I think it's hard for someone who definitely doesn't feel like they've had like a spiritual awakening or anything in that sense to actually comprehend what it is. If I'm being totally
Yeah.
honest, for me, it's like when I talk to whoever I talk to, I keep using mediums as an example. It's like they're talking to me about, and I'm like, but how does it feel? Tell me how,
Yeah.
please, because I need to know. But it's so hard to explain these things,
It
you know.
is. It really is. I think it started for me with saying, okay, like I kind of started from science, which was
Hmm.
like, quantum physics, even. And then just like this understanding where I believe wholeheartedly the people in your energy are just a mirror for you. That's the reason we outgrow each other. We get on different frequencies. And if I, for instance, the reason I surrounded myself with a bunch of fucking emotionally unavailable people is because I myself was emotionally unavailable. I did all of these things because I didn't love myself. I kept the separation between myself and others to protect myself. And so
Yeah.
I went through my whole life feeling like I loved everybody so much more than they loved me. And then when I was like, okay, what does that say about me? It means I don't fucking love myself. So I am projecting this feeling of not loving myself, and they are reflecting that back at me. So I started to figure out every fucking way that I did that. If I was mad at my husband for being messy, I would say, then what are you mad at yourself about? Because you don't
Right.
get upset with other people unless it's directly related to something you're upset with yourself about. Every fucking way that I could do that, I did it. And it just feels different. It's like I think it makes you start to understand that you're connected to something higher, because why else would that be a thing? You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, no, I get you, 100%. I get you. It's funny like thinking about things like that because for me, like as a child, I was like, so I had like anger management, all of that shit. I went for like, I had all of that stuff, and now when I look back, I'm like, I don't even know how that was me. Like genuinely, I don't know how it was me, especially now when like I am like the most chill person when it comes to conflict or anything like that. If let's say I was at a bar and somebody like nudged me or something, I'm like, whoa, dude, like calm down, let's all just chill out. So it's growth is something that can happen over time and you don't even realize it until you actually like think about it.
Yes. Yeah, I'm kind of the opposite in that I was always reactive until I was like 44, which I mean, that's my natural state through all the trauma is just to be like,
Hmm.
I'm more of like a high temper kind of person, like I have to work really consciously on slowing down, because if I'm in a hurry, I get in survival mode. So like,
Yeah.
the second something like that happens, then I'm like, we must get there on time at all costs. Like I literally used to have the worst road rage ever. And now I'm like, it doesn't matter. I mean, I'll still be like, you fucking bitch. Why are you fucking
Yeah.
driving like this? And then I have to be like, it really doesn't matter, Melissa. Timing is intentional. So maybe there's a wreck that you're going to miss or whatever. I have to like calm myself down in the car every single day because I'm naturally reactive. but like I was the golden child of my family. Like, do you have siblings?
Yeah, so I've got 2 sisters and a brother.
Oh
Um,
shit.
but I'm the
You-
golden. I am the oldest, and I'm the golden
Oh, you're
child.
the
I
oldest.
am the apple of
Okay.
everybody's eye. I am the
Yeah.
one who's, and it's factual. Like, no disrespect to my family or my brothers or sisters. I just did the best in
Yeah.
school, in
Yeah.
people,
Well,
in
oldest children
everything.
learn that that's how they get love. Like although I was the middle child in my system, but I had an older brother and a younger brother who were fucking up at all, They made it easy, if I'm going to be honest. Like, I'd be like, oh shit, I don't want to get in trouble like that. Mm-mm.
I made it
But
hard for
like,
those people. I tell you, my brothers and sisters had hard because they were compared to me all the time, and it's not easy.
but you know what's funny is, like, my brothers were always like, you're the favorite, you're the favorite. I'm not the fucking favorite. I'm just doing what I can to get love. Like, my little brother, very obviously the favorite. Very obviously the favorite. He was called the baby from the time, he's fucking 14 months younger than me. And it would always be like, well, he's the baby. Bitch!
It
He's
is
7
good.
and I'm
It's
8.
nice. It feels good being the favorite, though. I won't lie. It does feel good.
I'm sure. I wouldn't fucking know. I was never the fucking favorite. I just was the good kid. But I felt this deep-seated need to like give my grandma a good kid. She had raised 5 kids who gave her hell. She had 3 more, and I'm like, she deserves to feel like she did a good job. Well, my grandma was a fucking raging narcissist. That's the reason that her kids were the way they were.
Yeah.
And I mean, it took a long time to come to that, but because I was like, I wouldn't even talk shit about her. I wouldn't complain. I wouldn't anything. Because I was like, no, she will know if I talk bad about her, and that would
Yeah,
be
yeah.
awful.
You're
I was
explaining
scared of
me.
her.
You're explaining me, honestly, because listen, my mum and my uncle, my nan had 2 children, so one is my mum and one is my uncle. Now, my uncle is somebody who used to be the co-host of my podcast, no longer, was a massive drug addict.
Mm-hmm.
And my mum's an alcoholic, and financially they ruined my grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
So I always felt the need to be, not the need, but the want to be the one they could be proud of.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to give them something they could hold on to, and I believe I did for my nan. I believe I still do for my granddad. And there's many a times that I bailed them out and did things, whether it's financial, emotional support, anything like that. Like when I lived there, it was like constant, so much shit all the time, and I was always the one just like, right, who the fuck do I need to talk to? Who do I need to go and sort out? Because I will ring my mum and call her a bitch, and I'll ring my uncle and call him a dickhead. Like, nay bother.
What do you need? Yeah.
Yeah, what do you need me to do? Because I will fix this. You are old. You've done your time. You've done your time, relax, And it's
Yeah.
so shit when they couldn't. And that's something that affected me a lot. Seeing them not be able to relax and enjoy their old age, their pension. And it still gets me to this day, I lost my nan and she was still going through that fucking stress.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, that's something that really affects me. And I think that's made me who I am a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a really common experience to take on a level of responsibility for other people's happiness. But I think that's what happens when you're raised in systems where addiction is present,
Yeah.
is to feel responsible. But I also think that's part of the human condition, and learning to kind of separate our own happiness from the happiness of others. I struggle with this, especially with my children. I have kind of a codependent relationship with them. They don't with me, thankfully, but like where I struggle to feel happy if I know one of my kids is unhappy.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean just like over the dumbest shit. Like if my 22-year-old home, he moved home a year ago to go back to school, and if he was in a mood, I immediately, no happy for me. I'm in a mood too. I'm gonna ride
Yeah.
this wave with you, and not because I wanted to. I didn't know how to like fill myself up independent of him, and so I really work hard on staying open, and like I'll just take space if that's what I have to do, because I can't watch it and be okay, but I can be like, okay, I'm gonna go to my room while you have your mood, because I'm not good at regulating really when anybody around me is very unhappy, because my little good girl nervous system is attuned to making other people happy. And I also feel other people's energies really strongly. So I can let it negatively impact me pretty easily if I don't work very intentionally on that.
Yeah. I I feel like I very much do the try and be the positive person in all situations. So that's sort of how I deal with things. Like no matter what's happening, I'm like, cool, right? How can we sit down, level it out, relax, and work out how to go forward? We don't need to look backwards. We don't need to. You know, what can you change about the past? There's nothing.
Right.
So let's look
Right.
forward. How can we resolve this? Why be pissed off at something that happened even 30 seconds ago when the next 30 seconds are coming, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, and I think what you're doing there too is understanding that there are layers of truth, and that, sometimes your brain is just going to feed you something just because it wants to keep you safe. But like, what else is true in this situation? Because we will
Yeah.
let our fear and our panic take over when we're upset, and there's a lot of other truths that you could choose to latch onto, which is fundamentally like right now, I'm okay. My needs are met. I don't have to be super afraid of the future, whatever it is.
Yeah, no, definitely. And have you ever been like, obviously because we've not spoke too much before prior to this about like personal like life and things like that. Have you ever been like, I don't like using the word depressed. I don't like that word. Like, but have you ever been like because I've been down recently within the past like 3 months. I've been down for the first time in my life, and I've never actually felt it until like then. And it's like I don't know. I struggle to, because I've never felt it before, and I struggle to understand like how people can feel like it and not, well, basically not just break the fuck down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and I, for me, it's like how I like to know how people got out of it, if that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense. I don't know.
Well, what I hear you saying when you say that is that you, like the rest of us, have learned to intellectualize your experiences, and you like to think and logic your way out of shit. And when you reach a point where you're down, there is something you're not looking at. And so, like, as much as it's great to try to be a positive person all the time, there are times that you have to look at the shit and face the shit.
Hmm.
For myself, yes, I've absolutely struggled. That's actually like my whole thing is that like I almost killed myself in 2023, but I was giving shit one more chance, and that's how I got here. And for me, I really had to understand how my wounding was created and that I was covered in shame. But I also think a lot of times, well, I think if you're down, there are there's a good chance that you are not living in full alignment, but
Hmm.
also that we reach these points of chemical lows, because I think so much of this is just our chemical process, right? And we, like, for a really good example of that is that we view love this certain way, and love is not dopamine, adrenaline, serotonin, oxytocin, vasopressin, any of that shit. Love is what you create within,
Yeah.
and filling yourself up with that self-love, and that's the energy that you share with others. All the other shit is chemicals. So if you're at a chemical low, it can trigger overthinking, it can trigger um depression, kind of thoughts.
Yeah.
But I got really curious about that shit and decided, like, well, I wonder why that's coming up. But I really understand my wounding very, very well. I know why I feel betrayed when I feel betrayed. I know why I'm feeling neglected when I feel neglected. I also know when shame is popping up in me. And like, you really, I think, probably have a lot of perfectionist tendencies, and have to, figure out where that came from and how to overcome that. So a lot of times those lows come because we're holding ourselves to a fucking unreasonable expectation. But in terms of the how, there's lots of hows. I mean, I have a whole fucking workbook on it, on my link tree. But like, I think that we assign meaning to shit that doesn't necessarily need meaning. So when we're at, because depression is just uh below baseline. So if this is baseline, you walk around feeling normal, above hyperarousal,
Hmm.
below hypoarousal, what do we need to do to get back up to baseline? Well, if it's just a chemical low, you can go fucking have a 30-second dance party and feel better. You can have a
Yeah,
conversation
yeah.
like this and feel better because the energy exchange happens and you raise your vibrations, you get the chemical boost, whatever. A lot of us really are lacking in the ability to create enough dopamine. So you got to figure out, aside from like going and doing dumb shit to get dopamine, how to get it from healthy ways, like exercise, which you are
Yeah.
well aware of, dancing, singing, any of those types of things. But I mean, I personally think that it would benefit you to do more emotional work. Like I just think learning about your wounding and looking at it instead of trying to be up in here, because this is what we're taught to do, is to try to use our brain, and your
Yeah,
brain
yeah.
doesn't know shit. Your brain's a fucking liar. So like learning to feel feelings and experience them instead of trying to think our way through shit, that's the life changer right there for me. I still have periods of lows, but I'm really curious about them. I don't have any like thinking assigned to a period of low. If I'm low, do I need a nap? Do I need water? Do I need to exercise? Do I need to talk to a friend? Like, because, I just need more energy. I need more dopamine.
Yeah, yeah, that makes total sense. And I suppose for me, the reason I feel so not so out of touch with it is because I never had it before.
Hmm.
It's only ever happened once, and it felt very situational.
Yeah.
It
Well, and that's
it
a
was
thing.
three things happen, and it's like your car blows up, you're about to lose your house, and then this, and you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, what? Give me a break, bro.
Yes. Yes.
you know?
Well, I think that we can make those situations worse by feeling victimized by them. And what I
Hmm.
mean by that is like, why the fuck is this happening to me? And I really switched my shift in thinking to, okay, this is happening for me, not to me. What am I like? What can I learn? Is there a resource that I'm needing to tap into that I haven't yet? I think it helps me with the whole like spiritual shit, because I'm like, I feel fundamentally supported. So I
Yeah,
do feel like the things that happen are happening for me and not to me. Like there's a purpose in the struggle. And I feel like I'm able to have as much light as I have because I've experienced the profound darkness and worked my way out of it.
yeah.
And I don't think there's very many people in the world that could have a lot of shit happen to them and not feel down, right?
Well,
So,
yeah, yeah. And I think the reason I bring all these things up as well, and the reason I actually talk about them a lot, is because like now it's all cool. Like, and this is the thing, it doesn't last forever, and this is what people,
right,
I feel like people not need to understand, but maybe need to or learn to understand. Like this shit isn't forever. Like
right.
it's like being a sportsman. Form is temporary. You can be good one week, shit the other week, but it'll balance out, and everything balances out.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, there's that concept biologically of homeostasis. So,
Hmm.
what goes up must come down and what goes down must come back up. Like we have to reach a baseline. That's what our body is designed to do. But I think even if you apply that metaphysically, the universe, the energy is the same. So I think what it comes down to is deciding that nothing that happens external of me changes my worth or value as a human, because then the shit that's happening outside of you doesn't change the way you move in the world. So like, yeah,
Yeah,
you might have to walk to work instead of riding in a car, but you're still going to go to work, versus just letting it pile on to where it just shoves you down and it changes fundamentally the way you're interacting with your world and with your system. If you can
yeah,
be kind of resilient and be like, okay, fuck, that really sucks. Now I'm going to have to ride the subway to work every day, whatever it is, instead of allowing it to just change the way you're operating, I think you can always see a greater meaning in things. And you're right. You will always look back and go, fuck, I really didn't think I was going to get out of that. And I
hmm
did. I mean, I've had so many examples of that just in fucking entrepreneurship.
yeah. I can imagine. I can't say I'm not much of an entrepreneur myself, so I
Oh,
can't.
well, I can't say I'm being like a great one. I don't know. I'm over here fucking delivering for Uber Eats to support me. So, whatever. I mean, it just is what it is. But, I mean, I think for a while, I didn't even realize this, but I think for a while I was letting it affect the way I moved because I was doubting myself. Like,
Yeah,
maybe I am doing this wrong. Not because I doubted what I was doing itself. I believe really wholeheartedly in what I'm doing. But I was like, maybe there's, a karma, anything, maybe whatever it is. But instead, like, I think the one shift that I made was like, okay, well, I'll go make money any way I can, as long as it's fun, as long as I'm enjoying it
Yeah.
and whatever. It doesn't have to be from my workbooks or anything else I'm offering. As long as I'm having fun and I'm in like my own authority and I'm living autonomously, I'm good. I'm just going to go make some money so that I can relieve some fucking financial pressure off myself. Great. That was different for me, but since I've started doing that, lots of doors have opened. And I think that's really the key, is just like not allowing the shit that happens to you to change you.
Yeah, no, 100%. I agree as well. Like, I look at like my podcast, for an example, is like, listen, it's not lucrative. It costs me money. But I have so much fun doing it. So much fun.
Yeah.
I look forward to it. I'm like, shit, I've never met this person before, and I'm gonna talk to them for an hour about God knows what,
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it's so fun.
Yeah. I feel that way about podcasting and being a therapist. Like, I get as much out of it as anyone else does. I mean, I've learned so much, I've grown so much. I just like energy exchanges that are positive. They make me feel really energetic and happy,
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
I just love it. Well, Josh, I've had such a good time with you today. Tell us like where we can find you, name of your podcast, all that shit.
So you can find me pretty much anywhere under the name Let's Get Chattin Pod. Chattin without a G, mainly because I'm a bit chavvy and I'm like, yeah, chatting, bruh. No, because with a G was taken pretty much. So yeah, Let's Get Chattin without a G. Let's Get Chattin Pod. And the reason I it's called Let's Get Chattin is mainly just because people need to talk to each other more, understand each other, and be able to talk. Men's mental health is a massive thing, along with women's mental health. I must say that, because I also disagree with the whole like men's mental health massive thing, because I think everybody's mental health is a thing, and I will say goodbye, like I say goodbye to everybody on anything, and I always just say, when you ask somebody how their day is, actually fucking mean it. Just don't mean it as a greeting, because how are you is like, you're right, but when you're asking how are you, just mean how are you.
Absolutely. I love that. Well, thanks so much for coming on. I had such a good time.
You're welcome. It's been a pleasure.
Hey, make sure you've given the show a 5-star rating on whatever platform you're listening to if you haven't already. And check out my website, empoweredwithmelisahepner.org, or my link tree on Instagram at melissa.hepner to check out my latest offers or workshops. Emotionally unavailable. All right, that's it from me. So make sure that you check out the show notes for links. And until next time, let's all just keep swimming. Emotionally unavailable.
INDEPE and cut.
Raise your hand if you want your nails to look perfect all the time. Me too. I'm Sarah Gibson-Tuttle from Olive & June, and this is exactly why we created the Manny system. We wanted to make it possible for everyone everywhere to give themselves a beautiful manicure at home. With our tools and our long-lasting polish, each manicure with our Manny system comes out to just $2. That's right, $2. No more $30, $40, $50 manis that you get at a salon and they take hours. Now you can paint your nails on your time and love them more than ever. And by the way, when people ask, who did your nails, where did you get them done? You're going to proudly say, I did them myself. Get 20% off your first Manny system with code DIYNail20 at oliveandjune.com/DIYNail20. That's code DIYNail20 for 20% off at oliveandjune.com/DIYNail20.